Okay, so I'm walking back to the car and I've got my art historian eyeballs on. And I walked past this on the way into the quadrangle there, but I just paused, and there was something about it that was like, I should look this up a little bit more. So I'm just going to show you. We're here at, this is like a little fountain. There's a little, assuming it's a little girl, and you can see she's standing on a sea urchin, and the water is sprinkling out. And then this is called the, let's see, I'll read it. Decker Gardens, named in honor of Alonzo Decker, chairman of the Hopkins 100th Centennial Campaign. So this little statue was originally in Mount Vernon Place, which is a park in Baltimore that has their Washington Monument, and there are some small sub-parks around it. And so evidently it was originally installed there, the sea urchin. I don't know if it actually says, over here I think maybe it says that it's a sea urchin. Yeah, so that's the dedication. This says that's Edward Berg, the sea urchin. So it must have been 1926. Wow. Well, I'm not really sure how. I guess maybe it was cast after he died. So it was originally in Mount Vernon Place. I'll just stand like this because I think this is a prettier view than the construction. It's right next to the president's house. So that beyond the orange there, that's the home of the president of Johns Hopkins. And in the distance there is an older building. Now, I think this whole campus was relocated maybe in around 1900 or the 19-teens. But this to me looks like one of the oldest buildings I've seen, at least in the half of the campus that I've walked. And it's called the Academy at Johns Hopkins. And behind that big magnolia tree is a bunch of greenhouses. So I think it's also related to like botanical science. And the reason I wanted to stop and sort of point this out, so that the sculpture came to Johns Hopkins in 1961, I guess in honor of this guy, and maybe they needed to relocate it. But the sea urchins to me seems a bit unusual. Let me see if I can zoom in any closer to see standing as a choice, as a subject matter choice. Like often you see, the like watery horses or the shells or the fish, but a sea urchin is a little unusual. And so Google, right? So I put in, I'm like sea urchin biotechnology, and evidently sea urchins they go back to ancient Chinese medicine. So the urchins have been used for a really long time in terms of for health process, healing purposes. But in biotechnology, they're looking at it both for cancer and anti-aging, which is all the longevity stuff, and then also embryology. So that's something I haven't had a chance to talk much about, and I know it's something that Leo's been researching around some of the mutation work. But ultimately, they're really trying to figure out how life is created from single cells and how cells evolve into these other organs, right? Whether they be plants or other living beings. And so sea urchins are actually widely used for embryology studies to figure out how cells go from like non-differentiated matter to certain very specific functions. And in the urchin, especially because they have spines, there's something around biomineralization that researchers are very interested in. The way they use calcium in a fractal sense to create the spines from undifferentiated material, because these folks, I think they really imagine that they're going to create life somehow with their high technology biochemistry knowledge. And so to me, I just wanted to take a minute and sort of point out this statue. I don't know that it's at all connected, but to me that the use of the sea urchin was interesting. And again, it wasn't originally on the campus. It was originally associated with little parklets connected to that Washington Monument further south, I think in the city of Baltimore, but brought up here. And then that sea urchins and a lot of sea life actually is something that's been examined very closely for like its developmental processes, the processes of metabolism and development and differentiation. And that a lot of this work was carried out by botanists. And that's, again, something that Leo has spent some time looking on. And when I was looking at it myself, and I wish I had their names at the tip of my tongue, and I don't. It's on my giant map that I can link in. But there were a number of these botanists who were connected to Bryn Mawr. And again, Bryn Mawr is another Quaker, it's a Quaker women's college outside of Philadelphia. So a number of these folks who were really interested in early level embryology and cell differentiation, and this is the early 20th century, had Bryn Mawr ties. And then to see the sea urchin here at a center of biotechnology, knowing that actually they've even got, I guess, globs of nanotube clusters that they've named urchins because of the way they're shaped. So they've actually, it's like the machine mirroring life that they've named these nano arrangements, nano urchins. So just one last close up of the urchin. There we've got a lot of koi swimming around, and then we've got the academy there and the greenhouses. So yeah, all stuff to think about. Thanks for hanging out with me.